Joining me now from Memphis is Rodney Wells, Tyre Nichols' father. Mr. Wells, I first want to give our deepest condolences to you. You should not have to be here tonight to talk about losing your son. But I thank you for being gracious enough to do it anyway. I want to give you a moment, rather than to talk about the horrors that we just saw. I want you to tell us about Tyre. I want you to tell us who he was as a person, as a living person, and what he meant to his family.
Tyre was a sweetheart. He had a very infectious personality. Every time, we worked together. So everybody at my job loved him to death. He was the kind of guy, when you come in the door, you can't walk past him without getting a hug. He's going to make sure, if you get past him, he's going to make sure that you come back and give him a hug. He's just that kind of person, and everybody adored him. When this first happened, we had a balloon release at my job. And it was over 100 employees in the parking lot for the balloon release. Everybody wants to, everybody loves Tyre. He's the kind of person that you see the good in. He was his own person. He didn't follow trends. I remember I bought him a $200 pair of tennis shoes, some Nike Air Maxes, and a size 12. I couldn't wear them. I gave them to him. He didn't want them. He wanted Vans. He likes to skateboard. He likes to take pictures of the sunset. He loves his son, and he loves photography. I'm from LA, so we had a saying for guys like that. We called them Valley Boys, because they were not from the tracks. They weren't from the streets. They used to skateboard and surfboard and, things that we didn't do. So that was Tyre.
What, if anything, would you say if you could speak to these 5 officers who could have been Tyre on the wrong day out of uniform? The way that they treated him, not like he was a brother, even though someone was saying bruh as they were talking to him and beating him, but as someone who didn't have a right to live. And it's shocking when it's to see Black men who should know what that would be like doing that. What would you say to them?
What I would want to say to them is they messed with the wrong kid. But, as my wife said, we pray for them too. We pray for their families, because he's disgraced their whole family, from grandmothers to kids. They have to bear the brunt of what their parents did or what their sons did. And it's shameful. Like I said, again, I'm from LA. So we have a group of cops out there we used to call the Goon Squad. And they would do the same type of thing that they're doing here. But back then we didn't have all these video cameras and all these tapes. And so a lot of people were brutalized and, nothing became of it. So I don't understand how they thought that they could get away with it in today's time with all of these cameras. I heard the defense attorney saying that this Mr. Mills guy was such a great guy, and he probably was in his community around his family. But when he's in these streets, he turns into a monster, because these was monsters that did this to my son. As my wife said, my son weighed 150 pounds. Each one of these officers was over 200. That's 1,000 pounds beating on my son, using him as a piñata, all this unnecessary force that was really not needed for a kid that wasn't resisting or just trying to get home to his parents. That doesn't make common sense to me.
I don't think it makes common sense to anyone. Making sense of it is probably a waste of all of our time. But thank you for sharing some of your time with us. Again, our deepest condolences to you, sir. Rodney Wells, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and God bless you.